Hello and welcome to another update on the Newberg real estate market. My name is Steve Thoele. I'm a principal real estate broker with Premier Property Group. And this update is going to cover the last 8 weeks of market activity ending this past Sunday, February 18th. So let me switch over here and share the screen with you, and I'll go through the data here with you. So first off, we'll look at active listing activity. Blue bars is new listings by week, as we had 11 this last week, which is a few more than a couple prior weeks. And in terms of total number of active listings, you can kind of see that it's been pretty flat for the most part over this time period. I know they had a low of 67, but then it's been kind of in the 70s for the most part over the past month and a half or so. Into this last week, it's 79 homes active on the market in Newberg. The median list price and days on market for those active listings, you can kind of see we kind of started a little below the 550s. Got up to a high of 570, and it has come down. This last 2 weeks, we've been right at 500,000 as the median price in Newberg. And then days on market, that has come down as well. We had a high of 81 days of market time here 8 weeks back, and has gotten down to a low of 44 as of this last week for these most recent 79 homes on the market right now in Newberg. Okay, we'll move along to pending sales. And last week we had quite a few. Had 10 last week here in Newberg, which you can kind of see is a high for the past 8 weeks. And you can see over this last month, we had quite a bit more pending activity than we had over the first 4 weeks of the period here. And then that's kind of reflected here in the total number of pendings. You can kind of see we started at 30, dropped down to a low of 18, and then we've kind of started to ramp back up here. And right now we're sitting at 33 homes right now are in pending status in Newberg. The median price days on market for the pendings, you can kind of see we started at a low of 440, and we kind of peaked out here at right around 500,000 for about 3 weeks. This last week did drop back a little bit to 485,000. Days on market, that's been on the rise. Kind of had a few weeks to begin with at 35 days. And then it's been kind of going up for the most part. This last week finished with 91 days of average market time. So just about 3 months of average market time for these most recent homes that have sold. So, the pendings have gone up, but they took longer to go pending is kind of what that is showing as of late. Okay, sold listing activity. So as the time I put this info together, show we had only 2 properties last week crossover from pending to sold. So pretty slow week for closings last week, although this might get adjusted up as time goes on. And then I look back over the prior 4 weeks of activity on a week-by-week basis. You can kind of see what's happened there. Had a high of 22 homes that had sold 8 weeks back when you look over the prior 4 weeks, and then we sat at 20 there for 4 solid weeks, and we have been kind of coming down over the past 3 weeks as the number of weekly closings have been kind of decreasing from where they were earlier. The median sold price, days on market for the sold listings, you can kind of see we kind of got up to a high of 483, then dropped down to kind of a low of 435 here about 3 weeks back, and has been kind of creeping up here over the past couple of weeks. Again, this last week came in at 443,000, and then the days on market for these sold listings kind of started off at 70, dropped down to about 32 as a low, and then we're back right up to 70 days of average market time for these most recent 12 sales that have happened in Newberg. Okay, last thing here, we'll look at last little bit of data, weeks of inventory and sale price as a percent of the original list price. So red bars, that weeks of inventory number. You can kind of see we've been on the rise over the past 8 weeks. So we had a low of a little over 12 weeks to begin with. And then we were kind of in the, roughly about 15 weeks for about a month. And it has kind of ramped up here and really ramped up this last week to 26 weeks, which when you do the math is just right at 6 months of inventory, which we haven't seen that number for quite a while. I do suspect that, with kind of the pending pipeline that we looked at above, we're going to see this number, drop back down unless, new listings kind of continue to hit the market at a greater rate. But I would expect this number to kind of come back down over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then the sale price as a percent of the original list price, you can kind of see it's been operating within a range of about 97% as a high, a little over 95%. as a low. This last week kind of came right in the middle of that at about 96%. So roughly about a 4% discount off of the original list prices, where the most recent solds have kind of been falling. And then the very last thing we'll look at here is interest rates. So when I showed this to you here 2 weeks ago, last update, we were at about 6.9 or so, according to Mortgage News Daily, which is the website that I use kind of track what's happening in the mortgage rate market. And then over the past couple of weeks, it has been on the rise. As you can kind of see here, last week was kind of a tough week for rates. There was a couple inflation reports that came out, the Consumer Price Index, CPI, as well as Producer Price Index, PPI, and they both came in a little higher than expected. Came in a little hot, as they say, and that caused interest rates to move higher. Ended last week at right around 7.15 for a 30-year fixed rate loan. Assuming I think 20% down payment and good for a good borrower. So anyway, that's kind of what's happening with rates. Certainly not the direction that we want them to head, but that's where they're at nonetheless. So that is the update. Hope it was helpful for you. As always, if I can answer questions or be of any help, please don't hesitate to reach out. My phone number and email address are always down below these videos in the description. So you can call me, text me, email me. I'm happy to talk with you further. And always appreciate any feedback on the videos. Any give them some love with likes, comments, and shares. And really appreciate you tuning in. Hope you have a great day and week ahead. And we will see you on the next update.